What's going on, everyone? It is another episode of Left Side Heavy, the podcast, presented by Blue Wire. It's your boy, Jevin LaFave. On this episode, we welcome Colton Kehler onto the 26th installment of Kickback and Relax. And on this episode, it's just me and Colton, but we talk about his journey through hockey, playing overseas, playing in the WHL, getting drafted, and all of that. It was a super, super fun episode. And we are without Hayden this episode, but he will be back on the next one. So I hope you enjoy myself and Colton. I now welcome on a very, very special guest. He started his hockey career in Poco minor hockey, and then got drafted 7th overall, 154th overall in the Bantam draft to the Edmonton Oil Kings, and then made his way over to Germany. And now he is playing for the Idaho Steelheads, donning number 34 in the ECHL, coming off a 38-point season in 62 games in his first year. Colton Kehler, living legend. How we doing, buddy?
I'm good, buddy. It's good to see you. It's been a while since we chatted, so I'm glad we could do this formally.
Yeah, I've been wanting to have you on for a minute. And
Yeah.
first time I asked you, you were like, I don't know, man, I'm kind of a boring person to talk to. And I'm like, dude, that's the farthest thing. You're the farthest thing from boring.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty boring, but I mean, I guess yeah, I've been a couple places now we can talk about. So yeah, yeah, overdue for sure.
How's training camp, off-season training? How'd that go? Getting ready for the new season coming up?
Yeah, it's long, man. It was a disappointing end last year. We were in the playoff picture all year, and then kind of slowly slipped through our fingers. Ended up losing out on the last day of the year last season. So it was a long summer for sure, where kind of left a bit of a bad taste in our mouths. But yeah, we're back. It was long, but we're back, and honestly feels like we never left. So yeah, we're gonna getting ready to step on it next week.
Did the unfortunate ending to the season change any off-season like regimen or any training that you typically would have done?
Um, Not really. I think I might have started a little earlier than I usually do, but I think that was more as kind of just dealing with the little nick ups. So tried to get a bit of a head start on some training and some physio, but other than that, not really. No, it's pretty standard summer of just skating, training and working. So yeah, nothing crazy.
Is there a specific skill set that you wanted to work on, just a personal goal you wanted to get better at?
I think a big thing for me is just kind of watching video in the summer. That's kind of something I try to do just to like stay fresh that way. Feel like I'm pretty comfortable with my on and off ice regimen. But other than that, yeah, no, like Callum Volpe has got me pretty dialed in the gym, and then just trying to skate as much as I can. And other than that, no, I think just kind of watching the video and just keeping those details fresh in mind is my biggest thing throughout the summer.
Well, dude, that's awesome. I'm really excited to get into this because I've always been fascinated by um just like your career. You're close buddies with my cousin, that is. And I've always been a fan of watching your games, your AAA games back in Poco. Those were like I remember the midget tournament. Our our teams, we were like the stick boys for the Christmas tournament. And
Yeah.
I always catch your games, and teams throughout BC would always came down to Poco for the tournament. And I remember watching you guys. It was always electric. But I want to start from the beginning for you. What got you into hockey? How old were you, and like what was your motivations to start playing?
I think a lot of it is honestly my aunt. So I used to hang out with my aunt a lot when I was super young, and I believe she was the first one that kind of took me public skating. I think I was like 18 months or something. We started going public skating, and then I just kind of remember hearing stories. I'd be the kid that would just plop the chair right in front of the TV with the Canucks game on and stuff, and I was just kind of fascinated by it as a kid. And I think my first year of organized hockey, I was like 4 years old. It's like spring hockey, and I just loved it. I just loved it. I don't remember hearing any like resistance about wanting to do something else. It was kind of always hockey. I'd have my little mini stick set up in grandma and grandpa's kitchen and everything too. So yeah, I got into it pretty early, and yeah, I just kind of never looked back.
They're walking from kitchen to living room and you're dangling throughout them, like putting the ball between their legs and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
toe sucking grandma around the kitchen table. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was, yeah, I just always loved it. Always had the mini sticks going. Obviously, I'm sure like a lot of us did, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just kind of had the support of the family and got into it nice and early.
I was the asshole that would take up the entire dining room, push the table over so that there was more room, make it so
Exactly.
inconvenient for everyone in my family.
For
I
the
had
love of the game.
For the love of the game. I had the dining room from like 6 to 8. That was my time period to just go. Everyone knew.
You
Tegan
get
would go down to her room.
three periods in 2 hours. Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
exactly. I got enough going on. I had the starting lineup set and stuff like that. I had everything dialed in. But did you have like a favorite player growing up that you would that kind of got you into it? Because I know a lot of hockey players when they're growing up, they're like, oh, Patty Kane or Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin. Those are my guys. You would always reenact them in street hockey and stuff like that. Did you have any favorite players that you got you into it that you'd model your game after? Anything like that?
I don't know about like, oh, model my game after. I don't know, but remember probably Ovechkin was my guy. Uh, he was like my first like composite stick I had. It was the Ovechkin curve and everything on it, and then I mean that was when he was breaking into the league. I think I was like 8 or 9. So I mean the way he was scoring goals and just like blowing people up, that caught my eye. I didn't really um can't really model your game after that guy at 8 years old, but I just remember loving shooting the puck, and like even I guess it got as we got older, just kind of you know being that physical presence too, just trying to be exciting and stuff. So yeah, Ovi was definitely my guy growing up, but yeah, can't really say I like modeled my game after him
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Playing like Ovi at 8 or 9, parents
I
are
get
like,
dust speed.
yeah. So like get this
Play
mutant off
four
the
games a
ice.
year, blowing kids up. Yeah,
Drinking Dr. Pepper on the bench, doing
yeah,
everything like him. Is an absolute mutant. But
yeah.
um,
He's
at
still
what
got it.
at what age did you like really make the decision to commit to hockey? Like this is what I want to do. I want to play at the highest level. Like what age did you really make that decision that you want to push forward with it?
I can't remember. I want to say I was either um it was probably around like 13, 14. I remember because I was still playing baseball at the time, and I remember um you kind of get into that age where you got to make the choice. I mean, baseball's like in the summer and stuff, but kind of 14, 15 years old is kind of when you have to make the commitment of doing it more year round and stuff like that. So it's probably around then, kind of Bantam years when I shed playing baseball in the summer, which I don't know if yeah, I guess that was probably kind of the sign for me that it was hockey over baseball or hockey over anything else. So yeah, yeah, I want to say it was yeah, probably 14 years old.
Was it always like I want to play at the highest level? Like whatever the highest level is, whether that's AAA or
Yeah, I don't really think I really knew much. I think probably the first once I kind of started to know more about like kind of levels, the next level was probably like set first or second year Bantam. You start hearing about like the Western League draft. Um, but yeah, I think like other than that, it's kind of cliche, but we're young enough, just wanted to play and have fun. And then yeah, you kind of things kind of start to get put in your ear about drafts or rankings, kind of stuff like that, which, I mean, thinking about it now at like 14, 15 years old, it's so young, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way it is. And, um, but yeah, other than that, of course, you kind of start to see guys that you played with go to the next level, and it's like, well, you want to believe you're as good as them, and you deserve to be in the same spot. And so yeah, you always wanted to play at the highest level. And
This is how I know you're professional because you teed me up perfectly for my next question. I want to know about the Bantam draft into the dub. How did that all go down? Like, how did you know? When did you start making noise in the Bantam draft?
um, I guess it's like second year Bantam. You start, I think, I, probably a handful of times like tournaments and stuff, like some of the bigger tournaments where you had like your Burnaby Winter Clubs, your North Shore Winter Clubs playing. So there's scouts and stuff, and then because we were always in the second tier of kind of the mainland area of minor hockey, so we didn't have like a ton of scouts at our games, but there was a handful of times where after the game, one of the coaches would come in and say, someone's here to see you, you get an email or something, and then um, kind of just chat with the team, send you some questionnaires and stuff, and then yeah, it was definitely a pretty cool experience. Obviously, like talking to scouts, you see them kind of sitting up in the corner with the clipboards and stuff, and um, yeah, so that was kind of probably around the same age. But remember draft day was a pretty cool story. Um, I think hanging out with a lot of guys that kind of understood like what the day was about at school. So we were all kind of keeping our eye on it. And I remember, I think I don't know, like if I was rated anywhere specific, like it kind of, that was kind of above my head, but I remember it was in the fourth round. And I think I was in like science class or something. And then remember kept like refreshing this last pick of the fourth round, and it was the Oil Kings had it, and I'm just like refreshing for like 10 minutes in in class, and they ended up picking someone else who was actually a good buddy of mine. And then I think that brought us to like our lunch period, and I just remember being like pretty like discouraged about it, like thinking I wasn't going to go and stuff, just kind of being a little baby about it at 14. And then so I stopped looking at it for like the next like couple hours, because I think the draft went on like recess as well. So we came back, and I'm in industrial arts class, just like still pouting about not getting drafted yet. And then I think it was, forget who it was. I think it was like Sheldon Lau, and I forget who was with them. They came like running down the hall, and like they were the first ones that told me, like kind of like stopped everyone in class, and they're like, "Oh, you just got drafted." And I was like, "Oh shit, like cool." And then figure it out. And then I think um uh what happened then, I think I can't remember if I talked to Edmonton like it was like during class or if it was after class, but I remember like talking to them sometime at school, and just obviously probably feeling like a pretty big deal and stuff. But yeah, no, it was cool, like getting drafted in front of all your buddies and stuff.
Yeah,
And it was yeah, probably a day I won't forget. This is that's like 10 years ago now though too.
that's
It's time
insane.
flies. Yeah, so that was a pretty cool day, obviously, for the family and everything, kind of having that recognition.
Was it always going to be Edmonton? Like, were they the team really only in the mix, or what other teams were kind of in the mix for you?
I can't remember, honestly. I remember talking to Vancouver a little bit. I want to say Everett was in there as well, but I mean it's so long ago now. But I think there was probably like a handful, like 5 or 6 teams that I talked to. I can't really remember the depth of conversation that we had, but yeah, definitely a handful of teams that were seemed like they were interested at the time.
Did you know much about Edmonton?
Um, Not really, but I remember, I guess within like the month or so of getting drafted was when they won their first Western League title. I think it was 2011, 2012. So yeah, they would have won their uh first league title, and then I think they ended up losing in the Memorial Cup that year, but excuse me, and then obviously they won the Mem Cup a couple years after that. So that was kind of like, yeah, I guess them being in the Western League Finals was kind of the first thing that I knew about them. So that was pretty cool to get drafted to a championship team right away. That was pretty unique.
Um, go to your first year with Edmonton. Was it like, did you have any, obviously it's like the WHL, but like, did you have any like welcome to the league kind of moment? Like, were you in shock? Did you get starstruck by a couple of players? Like, were you just so behind play? Like, was it a lot faster than you were expecting? What was your first year like in Edmonton?
I remember being pretty intimidated. I was 18, but I was like an 18-year-old rookie. I was kind of right in the middle of the pack, but I'm trying to think who our first games were against. Um, so I think they would have been against Red Deer, who was hosting Memorial Cup. So a wagon. They were a wagon. They were loading up. Yeah, I just remember being like super fast. Um, yeah, probably a little bit behind the play, but um, I'm trying to think of like a welcome to the league moment where I might have got like, trying to think of maybe the first time I played like Evan Provorov or Braden Point. Those two, like I think Point or Provorov was like, he had like 70 something points. He might have been like plus 72. So it's just
Jeez.
like kind of, it was just seeing like a guy like that where is the first time you're kind of playing like these NHL prospects, right? And it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, there's the difference.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just remember playing against Provorov. We played that team in the playoffs that year, and they just like, I don't think I saw the guy make a mistake in like 10 games. It was like, and then everything that he did was effortless. I remember watching him on a penalty shot, and like, I don't know, he had our goalie like swimming like way off the other post, and just
Wow.
like, it was, I don't know, it's just a different level, right? Like you're
Yeah.
there, but then you see these guys that are, a year or two away from the National League, and it's just like, all right, yeah, you should be in a different league. You need a new league.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's kind of like the main one, is just seeing those top guys.
Yeah, because I always wondered about that. Like this kid, like watching you, I was like, this guy is insane. But then I'm like, there just has to be. What's the next level? Like what?
Right.
Like what are the levels? And you witnessed it in your first year. Like, okay, I now completely understand.
Yeah, and it's like, it's honestly, it's all the cliches, like, it's the consistency, and like it's the confidence, like, um and I think the biggest one too is like the attention to detail. Like those top guys, when you're preparing for a team, like those are the guys you're watching, and like a lot of the film you're watching is on them, right? It's like they're the catalyst, they're the quarterbacks, and being able to watch, you know, first round NHL picks and play against them. Not just watch them. I guess I was in the game too at times, but
Yeah.
um, you're just like holy shit, like a lot of those guys too. Like, I mean, even Barzal, like grew up playing against him, watching him, playing with him when we were younger, and then playing against him in junior. Like, and now watching him in the show, like the guy's playing like, it seems like the same way, just like that puck possession, just carrying the game. And so it's just that confidence too, that knowing how good you are, you make a mistake, whatever, brush it off. I'm still sick, kind of
Yeah.
things.
And now
So yeah,
we just signed for 9 mil. So
yeah, 9 in a pinch. Hey, that's pretty nice.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's not
pretty cool
bad.
to see. That's pretty cool to see. Like, but I mean, he's he's waiting to break out too. Like you
Yeah.
saw his rookie year, he had almost 90 points, and
Yeah.
um, there, yeah, he's a superstar.
What levels did you play with Barzal?
Uh, we played we played together. in some spring tournaments when we were like in like Pee Wee or something maybe, and then obviously our U18 year we played together and rode his coattails that year too. So yeah, we played a bit together when we were super young, and then the year before our first year of junior for Northeast Chiefs. Yeah.
Is that the year you had 41 or like 42 and 41 or something like that?
That was the year. Yeah. Yeah. I think I had like it was either 42 or 41. I had like 10 assists just playing with that. I remember too, there was one game, I think we were in Kamloops, and obviously like Matt set me up all over the place. And
Backdoor
then
tap-ins. Just
backdoor happens. Yeah, you gotta breathe on the puck and they're going. Um but I think we were on like a 2-on-1 and we had like a little give and go. I think I slipped one to him backdoor and like gave him an open net, and I was like, I remember talking to him after. I was just like, uh, I forget what I said, but it's like, fuck it. I think he said something to me, or it's just like about time, like you gave me one back or something like that.
after the
It's just like,
40 I gave you.
yeah, exactly. I was like, well, that might be the last one, I guess. But yeah, I remember too. Another funny one is we were that all star. We had the all-star game in Major Midget, and I think there's 5 or 6 of us that got selected to it. And then we're going out for practice one day, and he's like, oh, Kel's like, saw you made the all-star team. I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And he goes, yeah, you're welcome. I was just like, I don't know what to say. Like, yeah, like you're probably right. And then, but I remember being first star of that all-star game, so we can suck it. Yeah, you can suck it, first star. Yeah.
Was that good? I don't know.
Yeah, he was like, but like, I mean, that's kind of the confidence, and obviously doesn't mean any like malice by it, but that's just was just kind of him.
So. Overall, though, did you have a good relationship with him?
Yeah, I mean, we don't like stay in touch or anything, but like we were fine. We obviously played together quite a bit, and so yeah, it's a good dude. Deserves the accolades and the bag he got. So
yeah, I think just going towards that, like he was stuck in a defensive system under Trotz, and then this new coach that he has, I've only heard good things about him. Like he has a more offensive mind to him, so I think that's just gonna help him out even more. So
yeah, I'd love to see him start cooking again on that clip. So yeah.
I want to fast forward to your final season. You get the captaincy.
Mm-hmm.
How was that feeling?
It was pretty cool. Obviously it was a player voted thing, so I think that's always means a bit more than,
the coach giving it to you.
The coach giving it to you, yeah, I guess plain and simple. It's, coming from the guys. So yeah, it was kind of something I guess I was thinking about a little bit throughout the summer that, okay, I could get this, just try to prepare for it. Not that like you really want to change anything, but just kind of, putting yourself visually in situations where, you got to do captain things. And so, yeah, it happened. And, yeah, it was pretty special. Obviously an organization with like a lot of history and stuff, winning history. Not so much when I was there, but I mean, yeah, it's something looking back to. I think, you were captain in the Western, one of like, the best development leagues in the world is pretty cool for sure. So, and then, yeah, obviously the fact that it came from the guys was that much better.
Well, you didn't have Barzell giving you tap-ins. That's why.
Oh yeah, but 1 sec, I gotta go get the dog. Dog's barking. Good.
Yeah. You kind of went viral on Edmonton. I'm not too sure if you like talking about this, but the fight, I can't remember exactly who it was against, but first of all, I don't want to put like the guy on blast or anything because he did get hurt during that. But was it like a what kind of moment was it, or like what? How did you feel seeing like the video go all over Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that after? And
Yeah,
like,
so
and what sparked it up? Like,
yeah,
um,
so I guess to rewind, this is yeah, this is um I don't know, interesting one. So it kind of started um we had so Swift Current, they were the team that won the league that year. So they loaded up. They were a super solid team, and we were kind of we were we were a lottery team. We'll say that we're a lottery team. So I think it's like 4-0 after the first, and our coach comes in, and the guy ended up fighting. He was kind of like, I don't know if he was running around, but he kind of clipped a couple of our younger guys. So our coach comes in and he calls us out, and um, he's like, honestly, I don't give a shit that we're down, whatever it was, 4-0 at the time. He's like, but the fact that this guy's running around, we haven't done anything about it yet. Like, not that he's telling anyone to fight, but like, let's put our chest out a little bit here,
yeah,
guys. So
stand our
I'm the
ground a bit.
captain, and yeah, he's going after our younger guys. I'm the captain. I was like, all right, this falls on my shoulders, kind of thing. So I remember I walked over to the coach's room, and I was like, all right, if he starts, I want him, kind of thing. And he's like, you sure? And I said, yeah. All right. And then I don't think we ended up fighting until like 5 or 6 minutes into that period. But I told one of their guys that I knew, I was like, hey, like let him know, like, got to take care of this, kind of thing. And so I'm on the bench, and then he told the guy, and I'm like looking over at this guy on the bench, and he's like he starts taping his wrists. His trainer's giving him salts, and I'm just like, he's getting all fired up because he knows we got to fight, and I'm just like sitting there. I'm honestly scared shitless. He's like, not, I know this. He's a tough kid. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen him fight before. He's also a lefty. I'm just like, all right. So I'm starting to shit myself watching this guy like getting fired up with fucking smelling salts and getting his wrists all done up and shit. And so yeah, I think we lined up after they scored another goal, and you see like the big square off and everything, and obviously it went down how it went down. But
Dropped him like a 2 inch
yeah,
putt.
what's that?
Dropped him like a 2 inch putt.
I've missed those before though, so I've missed those kind of putts. But yeah, I think we both got kicked out. Yeah, they called it like a stage fight or whatever. So we both got kicked out. But I think, like, honestly, like, the I don't know if you can call it like the best part of the story, but the one that, like, the part of the story that like sticks with me the most is this guy came over and like shook my hand after the fight or after the game. So he had to get like stitches and stuff, and like he had to go through like the protocols.
Yeah.
And um and then I knew one of the guys on the other teams. We played in Edmonton together, and he's like, yeah, just like stick around. He wants to come shake your hand. And then he comes over. He's just like, hey man, like, puts his hand out, like looks me in the eye. He's like, hell of a punch, you got me. And then
Wow.
I was just like, all right, like, holy shit, like, because if the shoe's on the other foot, like, I'm probably not doing that. I'm probably
Yeah.
not going to like shake the guy's hand after, or at that age anyways. And then so when things kind of started going viral after that, and like hitting the internet, I just tried to like keep that in mind, that like, you know I just like kind of had too much respect to kind of hop on, like, retweeting it and like, liking it on Instagram and stuff and sharing it. So yeah, that stuck with me the most, was the fact that this guy came over and like, kind of had the balls to, look the guy that just,
Yeah.
knocked him out in the eye. So, I mean, obviously there's a cool part of like going viral and like seeing, this video everywhere and stuff. But like the fact that that guy, came over and, you know, shook my hand, I was just like, I don't really want to jump on board all the the sharing of it and stuff just out of respect. So
No, I totally understand that. And
yeah,
I'm so happy that I asked that question because that's a detail I did not know. And
yeah,
that changes a lot of things about it because it takes a lot of like courage and balls to like go to the guy who just connected one on you to say like, hey, like game recognized game almost kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. And then just like I think he had played just kind of asking around, other guys that I knew about him and stuff, and it's just like apparently he's just like the most like respectable, straight up guy too. So it's just like I don't really need to be jumping on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was you know to this day like all the respect to him for doing that. So
Do you know where he's at now?
um I think he finished the year in our league last year, but I don't know where he's playing this year at all. But yeah,
Continuing your final year, you finished the year on a pretty good note. Tucked 32 times, had 32 goals. Was like was the NHL draft ever realistic? Did you ever have any did you ever thought like maybe I have a chance?
um, I always probably tried to hold on hope to it, but I never really talked to any teams or anything like that. So, I mean, looking back, that was obviously the main sign is I never even talked to anyone. So, um, but yeah, never really got to that stage of the draft process in the NHL. But yeah, I think in the back of my head when I was at the parlor patting out dough watching the draft. My 20-year-old year, I was like, all right, seventh round, we still got a chance, and
Yeah.
then obviously didn't get drafted. So, but yeah, no, I never really got too far in the process of that.
Uh, Halfway through the year, did you have a goal of hitting 30? Were you like, I'm going for it?
Um, I'm trying to think. I think I might have only had like 10 or 12 goals at Christmas or something, and then I remember kind of going on a bit of a streak, and then yeah, it was like a couple months left, like or a month or two left, like 30 was in sight. And then um yeah, I don't know. It's obviously a nice plateau to hit. It's kind of something that I mean, I don't think I hit 20 before that year. And so to hit 30 was pretty cool.
You ended up going back to school and playing for UBC. Uh, did did you get like an offer like, hey, do you want to come play for us? And then you attended school, or did you attend school and then walked on to the team?
Yeah, I remember I talked to the coach there. I talked to the coach there maybe like a couple months left in my 20-year-old year in Edmonton. And then they kind of, hockey gets you into the school there. I remember having to do some like upgrading and stuff throughout the summer. And yeah, I was pretty content on coming home and trying to, use that scholarship. It's such a great opportunity to, you know, I mean, free school, give it a
Yeah.
shot. I tried. I tried. Did it for 2 years, but
Get a degree in arts or something.
yeah,
Communications.
yeah, like your cousin. Uh, what you call it? Yeah. So yeah, hockey kind of got me into school, and then gave it a shot for 2 years, and I just kind of realized that it wasn't for me, and just kind of go and bet on myself and play some pro hockey.
That that brings up, well, how was the hockey? Was it pretty similar to what you played in the dub? Because I heard so
Um,
many stories of like former dub players playing in that university level that you played in at UBC. How was the level? Was it pretty comparable?
yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys are coming from the Western League. I think the leagues probably doesn't get the respect it deserves with how many good players are there. Um, Not sure why. I mean, I remember after my first year, one of the guys from Alberta signed a NHL deal, like a 2 year entry level deal or something like that. And
Oh
then,
wow.
I mean, there's American League deals coming out of that league quite a bit, so it's definitely an undercover league. I'm not really sure why it doesn't kind of get more coverage and respect, but Yeah, it was good hockey. I didn't didn't have two great years there individually. Obviously, our second year we went to the national tournament in Halifax. And fortunately, that's where kind of COVID hit and
Yeah, I remember that.
canceled the tournament. But um, yeah, it was a really good league, and obviously you're kind of going into battle with the guys in the classroom and on the ice. So I mean, some of your closest friends are at school.
You had the opportunity to play Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken, in a couple
Yeah.
games. Uh, did you play against like the likes of Caulfield? And I'm pretty sure Turcotte went there too, if I'm not mistaken.
Um, Yeah, so I actually was hurt that weekend they came. I was super bummed out about that. I got blew up in practice and then or blown up in practice, and I was out of commission for that weekend. But yeah, so Caulfield was on that team, Turcotte, Keandre Miller. Um,
That
I
guy
think there was a
must have
couple.
been running around the ice, Keandre Miller. That's a
Keandre Miller, just like the smoothest skater you've ever seen in your entire life. It
and,
was,
and he's massive too. He's a big
yeah,
body out there as well.
he's a big boy. He's a big boy. Yeah, it's like playing that team was pretty cool. Obviously, those younger, I think they were all freshmen that year. I think yeah, Holloway was on that team as well. So I was watching from the stands, but um, yeah, a lot of hype around that weekend, and I think and Caulfield had like 4 or 5 goals in the 2 games. I remember, um, but yeah, so I guess it's just another example of another opportunity to just see those top end guys. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So yeah, we actually did not bad. I think I want to say we lost like 6-5. Might have been in overtime. I think the other game was like 2 or 3-0. But I mean, it was so. I mean, that kind of just goes to show you, you know, the how good our league is too.
Did they dress their full roster?
Yeah, yeah, they did. We weren't sure what that was going to look like, but they had all their big dogs playing. So it was
And seems like you guys hung in with them pretty good. So that, like you said, like you alluded to, it shows how undercover the league you guys are in.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think they had a pretty good year that year too in NCAA. Wisconsin did. So yeah, obviously it's a bit of an older league. Like everyone's kind of that 20, 21-year-old freshman, and you're
Yeah.
getting the top end guys in NCAA coming in at 18. But I mean, there's a lot of talent in that league, and I think uh, it's just a matter of probably dominating in a sense, and but you'll get your looks.
Um, when and how did the opportunity to play in Germany come about?
Um, yeah, that was pretty stressful, honestly, because I remember talking to our coach at UBC in probably like April, just kind of probably like a month after COVID hit, and I just told him my plan, like I'm ready to leave school, like it's not really working for me. Want to go play pro, and then so yeah, that was kind of like the first summer of COVID, so everything was kind of up in the air. Teams weren't sure if they were going to be playing or not, and then I ended up getting in touch with an agent to kind of help the process along. And yeah, I was stale for like I want to say it was like 2 months where I'm like, all right, like I'm not going back to school, but like I'm not having like I don't have a place to go yet. And so I think there was yeah, like 2.5 months in. So I guess getting into like June, July was when the opportunity came up to go to Germany, and I just figured, you know, jump on it because who knows if there's anything going to come up after this, and so yeah, signed signed my I guess first pro contract in Germany, and then went down in like October. That season got pushed back as well from because of COVID. So yeah, definitely an interesting time to kind of roll the dice and go play pro. But I don't know, I felt it was right for me at the time, and yeah, it's worked out pretty good.
Herner EV. Is that the kind of Canadian dumb way of pronouncing the team name?
Yeah, it is. It's yeah, the Herna EV. I think EV is, yeah, EV in German. So I probably sound like an idiot too trying to say it, but yeah. Yeah.
I just accepted the loss when I looked at it, and I'm like, it's probably not the way you pronounce it, but I'm just gonna roll with it. But you had a pretty good year there. You're just over point per game. Was like how much different was the hockey over there?
It was a it's a lot different. I kind of always described it as just wide open. Like a lot of it's geared towards offense. I found in that league. Um, there was times there was nights where like it's a midweek game, kind of a bit of like a snooze fest, and honestly there was games where like it kind of felt like pond hockey, not to like, and I don't mean that in like a shitty way or anything, but it was just like, all right, let's go score some goals, and that was basically it. Um, yeah, it's there's some pretty good skill in that league. Obviously, it was the third division over there, so they kind of noticed a bit of a drop off. There were some good imports. I remember one of the imports in that league had played like 50 something NHL games. You got guys that played American League games, but I think um, within like the German players, you notice a pretty substantial drop off on some teams or some lineups. But um, yeah, it was just nice. It was nice to go over, kind of get some of that offensive confidence back
Yeah.
after not being or not having two like very good offensive years at school. So being able to go do that, and then just also just the lifestyle, just it's hockey, and that's pretty much it. I think it was something that was looking forward to going into that year, and I think you know I think that really helped me as well.
How was Germany as just a place to live? Like, was it a culture shock?
Honestly, not that much. I mean, obviously there's some language stuff like when you're in the grocery store, but some of the basic sayings was um just kind of get you through the grocery store, get you through the till of restaurant or whatever was all easy. But yeah, they learn English in grade school. So I mean, even like within our dressing room, like English was pretty good. I remember I was on Babbel, like I was trying to learn German on Babbel, so I'd like try to put together sentences, and it just got to the point where the guys would just like tell me to speak English. They're just like, just shut up, quit trying, like just speak English. So I think after that, I gave up on the Babbel and just said whatever. So yeah, no, like English was pretty good, but other than that, like everyone's trying to do the same thing, get up, go to work, put food on the table. So I think that was kind of the biggest thing that I walked away with is we're all out here trying to do the same thing. So
Yeah. What was like what was your day to day on like a off day or something like that?
on an off day, um, honestly, I'd walk a lot when I was there. It's like we had standard like stick shift, and I didn't know how to drive it. Like I had a car, like they gave me the car when I was over there. Like I didn't really know how to drive it. So I'd like walk to grocery store, like walk into town. They had a decent little like kind of strip of mall. Um, but yeah, it was COVID, right? So there wasn't like a whole lot, a whole lot going on. So I just kind of get out into nature a little bit and do some soul searching. And um, yeah, but it was nice. So that league was nice because we would bus everywhere and it'd be all day trips. So 9 times out of 10, you'd be in your bed by, you know, sometime the next day. So um, that was that was nice. You're always around, but yeah, other than that, maybe go do some sightseeing, go some walks through parks. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot going on.
Yeah, I totally forget that like COVID was peaking or like on the severe incline when you went over there. Like you went in the middle of a hot spot.
Yeah, yeah, it was in a weird way though. I mean, it kind of it almost helped like my hockey a little bit because there was no real distractions of like, oh, let's like go to the bar and kind
That's
of that
fair.
stuff. Or, you know, like I mean, I don't think I would have been like a huge traveler throughout the year. Like I'm a bit of a homebody throughout the year, but like there was no real options. It was just kind of like, all right, I'll be home, like kind of be in my own little world, and then watch some video or watch Netflix. And I kind of just got into like a sweet routine of, you know, just kind of working off my own energy, at home by myself. And yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's definitely like an interesting time to go over there. But I mean, what a unique experience.
What are some of the cooler places that you played while over in
Uh,
Germany?
in Germany, there was one. It's called Rostock. It was north. It was way up north, and it was like right off the Baltic Sea.
Oh, okay.
And so I remember getting there. We were there like 3 or 4 hours early on our bus trip before the game, and so we were kind of just walking around like it's an older city, kind of walk the water a little bit. That was cool, but other than that, like um, we played in Hamburg, which is a super nice city as well. But I mean, you're not really doing any sightseeing or anything like that. We're getting in 3 hours before the game, and we're leaving right after, and it's dark. So um, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot, but some of the rinks, I think that was the cool part, is like some of the rinks, how old they are, and some of them are kind of, they're open on the sides, so like the bleachers go up, and you're just like outside basically.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so that was pretty cool. Like some of the older rinks, and then um, where else? Where else? There was a team in that league in the Netherlands where it was a lot of the Dutch national team. So that was kind of cool as well. Like, you're playing against, essentially the Dutch national team, and they
That's
were they
pretty
were
cool.
pretty good team. That was a cool rink too. I think that, yeah, Tilburg Trappers. They were there. Just like a couple hours on the other side of the German border. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, other than that, like I said, like they're all day trips, and even then, like you're not really able to travel a whole lot.
Did you spend any, like, did you spend the summer over there? Like, or like any part of it? Like, did you go to to any new countries or anything?
No, not really. It was very strict when I was over there. But I got hurt near the end of the year, so seeing, I went and saw a couple knee specialists, and we went. One of the specialists that was in Cologne, and that's a pretty cool city. That's like you get the big city vibe in Cologne, and they had this big old cathedral castle, whatever it was. That thing's like 900 years old, and
Wow.
so that was probably the coolest thing I saw, was like the Cologne Cathedral, for like off the back of going to see a knee specialist. So that was probably my coolest travel story in Germany. Yeah.
Blessing and a curse.
Yeah, I
Blessing, you
guess
get to see
so.
cool, but you gotta get your knee worked on.
Exactly. Yeah. So other than that, man, it was honestly the hockey and home. Like
Yeah.
get the workouts in. But yeah, so it was but still loved it. Loved it over there, like for what it was, first year pro, like not a whole lot of distraction, had a good year offensively. The team ended up doing really well. So for what it was an awesome experience.
What made you want to return um back to North America, and how did the opportunity to play in the ECHL for Idaho come across your
Um,
table?
yeah, I kind of decided near the end of the year in Germany that I wanted to come back over here. It's I mean, I felt like to that point, like I hadn't really given my best shot to, try to play at the highest level over here. Um, and I guess the ECHL was the, you know, the first rung on the ladder for me to do that. That was going to be the door that I could open, was playing this league and try to work my way up over here. So that was kind of my thought process. I can always go back to Europe and, make a little bit more money, down the road. But I think that was the biggest thing for me, was just like, all right, you've been playing this game to, try to play in the NHL. You haven't, maybe given yourself the best opportunities at time to do it. And yeah, so I think starting over here, obviously I think I got super lucky landing in Idaho. Talked to a lot of guys around the league, and something that I found out real quick is like there's nowhere better to play in the ECHL.
Really?
Honestly, man, it's like Boise, sleeper city, like great downtown nightlife, like restaurants, like super lively city. We sell out pretty much every game. We're pretty spoiled. Like, we live in a great complex. Yeah, a lot of the veteran guys that kind of come into town, they talk about how great Boise is to come and travel to. So yeah, super lucky to be here.
And they got an unbelievable college football field, the fucking all blue turf.
Yeah, the Smurf turf. The Smurf turf is what they call it.
The
Yeah, I don't think
Smurf
they're
turf.
off to the hottest start, but they're yeah, I mean, anytime you get college football in the States is pretty huge. And yeah, so there's definitely a buzz to this city.
Did you get a pick at the litter of where you could play, or Did you hire an agent and they were just like, "Hey, Idaho's gonna," they're the only ones really giving you an opportunity, and you're like, "I'll take anywhere."
Yeah, so I was working with the same agent as I did when I was going through the process with Germany, and Idaho was the first team that reached out, kind of did some homework on the league. And I mean, my agent had nothing but like great things to say about this place, and the relationship with the team. Um, there was one other team that I was talking to, but other than that, Idaho's got a super rich winning history. I think they had the longest playoff streak in professional sports. It was like over 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so like the first year in like 97 um till last year when we missed the playoffs, it was the longest playoff streak in like pro sports. And so yeah, just like being able to sense that winning rich culture was something that I felt like I hadn't experienced in a little while. So that's something I kind of wanted to jump into. It's like, it's probably, it's going to be a challenge kind of going into that, into a deep roster, but just, kind of bet on yourself to find your spot in it. And then obviously disappointing last year, but I mean, the culture that we have is still there, and I'm super excited to be back.
It's weird that your first year you guys missed the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pattern. Eh? Yeah. I think right after I left Edmonton too, like we ended up getting the first overall pick that year, and then the next year they made to like the conference finals, and then they won it last year. So yeah, maybe it's time to find a new career path.
The parlor is always open, buddy. You can always we always
Yeah,
have we always
I would love to be flipping pies actually. Yeah. No. But yeah, it's yeah, bit of a what is it, common denominator.
yeah.
I suck.
I didn't want to be the one to say it.
I would once I started telling that story, I was like, yeah, okay. We've talked about how I've been a part of like three
Edmonton
of the
was
big games.
Edmonton was a wagon. You got there, not the best. Idaho,
Yeah,
25-year streak down the toilet.
yeah. We'll see how this year goes. I might be retiring. No, that's cut that out. Cut that out. Cut that out.
Uh, oh, I'll got that. No, it's all love, buddy. But as we kind of start to wind down, I wanted to ask this question, because some athletes at some points it gets hard for them, whether they don't find any personal success, things don't go the way they planned. At any point, did you fall out of love with hockey and wanted to go a different direction at any point? Um,
Yeah, it's actually I was so I think it was around like my 16, 17-year-old year in junior. Um, I I was homesick. I was super homesick, like wasn't having like the greatest success, like kind of, you know, my own doing, kind of like I wasn't really fitting in very well. I ended up like asking for trades, coming back home, just like I kind of mentioned before, like not really giving myself like the best opportunity to, do something with, my abilities. Yeah, not just not really being super focused and just not doing well, kind of starting to, think about it. I mean, it's your grad summer and stuff, and then I actually got to the point where I signed in Edmonton in, I guess, like June of my grade 12 year, maybe May of my grade 12 year, and then um throughout that whole summer I had in my head like I was just going to quit hockey. Like I didn't like train at all. I was like pretty dead set on just like staying home and just like kind of starting to work and stuff, and then um yeah, I was like fully set on like not playing hockey anymore at 18. And then I think it was like two or 3 weeks before I went to Edmonton, I actually like decided to like go. I mean, I started skating with Mitch and with the Wolf Pack, and I was like, all right, like I'll play junior B. I'll try to get back to the BCHL by Christmas kind of thing, and then um, for whatever reason, the coach in Edmonton called me. I think it was like or texted me um, the first day of their training camp in, I guess, September or August. And he's like kind of checking in because we hadn't talked in a while. And he said, he's like, everything that's kind of happened up to this point in the summer, like can be water under the bridge. Like, just want you to let you know, like this door can still be open for you. And then I remember I was in the car with my mom and I was just like, I should probably do this. Like,
yeah,
and, um, and then, yeah, it kind of was like, honestly, like not trying to sound corny, but that's probably like one of the biggest like turning points in my life. Like if I don't go to Edmonton, like I don't know where I am. And then, um, so I mean, for as kind of lackluster as those 3 years in Edmonton were, like they were so huge for me personally, and just remembering how different things could have been if one you know Steve Hamilton and Randy Hansch like didn't leave that door open for me. Um, I have no idea like what I'd be doing right now. So it's pretty cool how like kind of life can turn on a dime like that. And you know, those are some of the people like my billets, obviously teammates, and those guys that gave me the opportunity. Like you never forget, never forget
yeah.
those people in your life. So yeah, that's like yeah, I got pretty close. I was like I hated it for a while and just kind of started to smarten up a little bit and kind of take some responsibility, and then obviously got super lucky to get that text message when I did.
Would you have been pretty content with if they said like, "Hey, like last offer if you don't take it." Like, what if they didn't keep the door open? Would you have been pretty content with it?
No, I probably would have hated myself looking back. Like I definitely would have regretted it in the way I handled it. And so that's, being able to look back and like, yeah,
You're
I
counting
mean,
your blessings now.
I count my blessings. Yeah. So that's honestly one of my favorite hockey stories is just like, yeah, we weren't very good when I was there, but holy shit, like probably three like of the most important years like of my life. So
Was that the year you played with Langley?
Yeah, so that was the year after. So I was committed. So my 16-year-old year of junior, I was in Cowichan Valley. Um, I went back to Cowichan Valley, asked for a trade back to Langley. Wanted to kind of come home and
Yeah.
just whatever, just kind of being a punk. I ended up committing to Clarkson at some point throughout my 17-year-old year, and then kind of butt heads with the coach there. And then yeah, I ended up signing in Edmonton when I realized like, you know, didn't really want to be in Langley anymore. And then yeah, went completely off the rails. And uh yeah, so it was um yeah, whirlwind year.
Well, Colton, this has been unbelievable, and I really appreciate you giving your time to do this interview. One last question. Any uh any personal goals for this upcoming year? How's the team looking?
So we're just in our captain skates right now. We don't start our formal camp till next week. Um, I mean, obviously playoffs, championship. That's why we show up every year. Personally, personally, I got my goals. Um, you know, think think the next level is it's kind of right there for me. I think I'm kind of right on the cusp of being able to play at the next level. So if an opportunity arises there throughout the year on any kind of loan, that's something I'd obviously want to expose myself to. But I think the the biggest ones are the team ones to kind of be cliche once again, but um, just want to be as consistent as possible and be a big part of a winning team. Those are kind of my main ones for sure.
Well, dude, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see how you do. I want to come down to Idaho, make a day trip with the boys, maybe catch a Steelheads game. But thank you again for doing this. I loved having you on. I'm so happy we finally got to do this. And best of luck for the season, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude. Nice goatee. You look so handsome.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. That's a great way to end it off.
All right.
Thank you so much to Colton Keller for joining the Left Side Heavy podcast. That was a thriller of an episode. And if you liked it so much, then please leave a rating and review on all platforms. It really helps grow the show. And head over to our YouTube if you want to watch it instead of listen to it. But as that goes, you can follow me on Instagram at Jevin.Lefave, on Twitter at JevinLefave, and find everything for the show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at leftsideheavy_. It would really help grow the show. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Kick Back and Relax, and we will see you on Wednesday for episode 131. Peace.